Ողջույն հարգելի դիտողներ, ես Վահան Ալադադյանն եմ դեղագործ։ Այսօր մենք ունենք շատ մի արտակարգ ծրագիր, մի շատ հարգարժան հյուր, որը ես ձեզ կներկայացնեմ։ Այս հարգելի անձնավորությունը շատ մեծ աշխատանք է տարել եւ թարգմանել է մի շատ մեծ գիրք, պոեմ, որը ես կներկայացնեմ իրենց։ Նախքան ասնելը դրան ես կուզեմ կարդալ Musa լեռան 40 օրվա մասին եւ վերահիշեցնել ձեզ այդ գրքի պատմությունը, որը գիտեմ շատերդ ծանոթ եք։ Այս անձնավորությունը գրքի թարգմանիչն է գերմաներենից լատվիերեն լեզվով։ Musa լեռան 40 օրը ավստրիացի գրող Ֆրանց Վերֆելի ստեղծագործությունն է գրված իրական փաստերի հիման վրա։ Ինքնապաշտպանական կռիվները տեղի են ունեցել Musa լեռան վրա Հալեբի նահանգի Անտիոք գավառում Սվեդիա գյուղաքաղաքի մոտ։ Լեռան շուրջ կային 7 հայկական գյուղեր։ 1915 թվականին հայերը Musa լեռան վրա թուրքերի դեմ տանում են 53 օրվա պաշտպանություն։ Ավստրիացի գրող Ֆրանց Վերֆելը այդ ամենից ոգևորված որոշում է գրել վեպ Musa լեռան 40 օրը անվամբ։ Գրքի ստեղծման գաղափարը Ֆրանց Վերֆելը մտքում ծագել էր 1929 թվականին, երբ գտնվում էր Դամասկոսում եւ տեսել էր, թե ինչպես են հայ երեխաներին աշխատանքի են դնում գորգի գործարաններում։ Հայ ժողովրդի անհասկանալի ճակատագիրը Վերֆելին ստիպում է հասնել մինչև գրիչ։ Վեպը գրվել է 1932 թվականին գերմաներենով, իսկ մինչ այդ Վերֆելն ուսումնասիրել է ամբողջ հայոց պատմությունը։ Գիրքը լույս է տեսվել 1933 թվականին, շուտով արժանացել ընթերցասերերի ջերմ ընդունելությամբ։ Դրա վառ ապացույցը այն է, որ գիրքը թարգմանվել է 34 լեզուներով։ Ամերիկայի Միացյալ Նահանգներում 1934 թվականին գրքի լույս ընծայելուց հետո առաջին 2 շաբաթվա ընթացքում վաճառվել է 34,000 օրինակով։ Նույն տարվա դեկտեմբերին ամերիկյան Time ամսագիրը Time Magazine-ում գիրքը համարվել է ամսվա գիրք։ Ֆրանց Վերֆելի աշխարհահռչակ այս վեպը հայերեն է թարգմանվել բանաստեղծ եւ թարգմանիչ Պարուր Միքայելյանը։ Լույս է տեսվել 1964 թվականին Երևանում։ Վեպն այնուհետև ունեցել է 5 հայերեն եւս 3 հրատարակություն։ 1987, 1990 եւ 2015 թվականներին ունեցել է իր 3 հատ հրատարակությունները։ Դուք կարող եք նույնպես լսել Musa լեռան այս վեպը գրքասեր կայքում, ինչպես որ մենք անցյալում ձեզ ներկայացրել են գրքասերը, ամբողջովին դուք կարող եք լսել այս վեպը գրքասեր.org կայքի մեջ։ Հիմա կանցնենք մեր այսօրվա մեր հարգարժան հյուրին, մեր հյուրը մեր շատ սիրելի Հայաստանի Հանրապետության դեսպանի տիկինն է, այս դեսպանը, որը ծառայում է Լիտվանիա, Լատվիա եւ Էստոնիայում, եւ այս ծրագիրը ես գվարենք անգլերենով եւ կաշխատեմ ինչքան որ կարելի է մենք ձեզ թարգմանել հայերենով։ Իրենք թարգմանել են Musa լեռան գիրքը լատվերեն լեզվին, իրենք գրական թարգմանիչ են եւ ապրում են, կարծում եմ, Լիտվանիայում։ Dear Ms. Mkrtchyan, Paegle-Mkrtchyan, I would like to welcome to our program and thank you for accepting our invitation. I'm very happy that I know you're pretty busy being the wife of an ambassador. Our Ambassador Tigran Mkrtchyan, who serves as an ambassador for those 3 countries. Welcome to our program. And please tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, and how did you end up translating this great work, this Armenian epos, as you call it. Please explain to us, to our audience. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for inviting me. It's obviously not so often that literary translators get invited to interviews. We are sort of ninja workers. We translate, we sort of help great books to be disseminated, to go to different audiences, but sometimes we are quite invisible. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Now about myself. I have a rather strange background, one might say. I used to be a specialist in Japanese studies and worked for quite a long time at the University of Latvia. And that's also the time when I started translating. It was first some kind of hobby, but I really liked what I was doing. And whenever I had free time, I tried to do what I could. Yes, and then afterwards, my life changed. I met my husband, married, and then I went to live in Armenia. And this is when also my career changed dramatically, because I made my hobby, that is literary translating, into my work, my career, because of several reasons. One of them, of course, being already married and having to care for family. But it somehow also helped sometimes, because when you have new experiences, you also start seeing things differently. And you can use these experiences in your own work, which I did. And one of these new things for myself, which I learned, was, of course, Armenian history. You see, people like myself who previously have no or little connection with Armenia and Armenians might be rather ignorant of Armenian history, especially people from the former Soviet republics, such as Latvia, for example. You might know, perhaps, that during Soviet times, nobody spoke much even about the Holocaust, let alone Armenian genocide. And we, people who have lived there, children who grew up in those times, knew very little about that. Mm-hmm. And I personally learned about Armenian genocide when I met my husband, Tigran, and when I started to sort of teach myself about these things. And, of course, it had a great impact on me. I thought maybe I could use a quote from Chris Bajalian, who says, "How come that such a tremendous tragedy is not known to the world?" And actually, it's very simple. This tragedy happens in places which are remote and not very well seen by people in the other parts of the world. So when you want to learn, you can learn about that, but you need to have at least a wish. And I'm grateful to the fate, to God, that I had that wish and that I learned about this history. And also I wanted to do something, and since my work is literary translation, I tried to find works, literary works, and good books, definitely, which deal with the subject, and see if I could get the publisher in Latvia interested in that. And I was lucky enough to do that. So the first book I translated, which was published in Latvia in 2015, was Chris Bojaljan's The Sandcastle Girls. And then later also Franz Werfel, which is a relatively recent project. The book was published in December last year.
Being the wife of Ambassador of Armenia, did you get any help from Ambassador to do the translations, or basically since it was German, it was all your work?
I got help from many people.
Yeah.
From my family, definitely, yes.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Very good. Now,
because you need time, first of all,
sure.
to work. And if you have 4 children at home and 3 of them are small, then it's not always easy to find that time. But my family was of great help, and my husband too. And then, of course, I needed a lot of consultations. I needed advice. And whenever it was so, I could ask my husband, who is himself a historian also, and he could also help me to which historian I should direct my questions. Professor Shemasian was very helpful. He answered whenever I needed to ask something. Then there were several people in Latvia, a Latvian armenologist, Valdis Almiņa, who helped with transcription, transliteration of Armenian names, for example. Then also other people, including Ter Khosrov from Armenian Church in Latvia, who was very helpful when I needed to understand the intricacies of the ritual in Armenian Church. That is described in some detail in the book. And of course, if the translator wants to translate it faithfully, he or she needs to know what exactly it is all about. So I was happy and really grateful to have so much help from many people.
Yes. Հարգելի տողներ, մեր հյուրն այսօր Հայաստանի Հանրապետության հիպատոսի կինը Ilze Paegle-Mkrtchyan-ը Լիտվանիայից, իրեն գրական թարգմանիչ են եւ թարգմանել են Մուսալերան 40 օրագիրքը լատվերեն լեզվով եւ մենք այսօր ներկայացնում ենք իրենց դες. Dear Ms. Mkrtchyan, I think in one interview that I read, you said you called Musa Dagh one of those historical novels which can be called almost perfect. Could you explain that, please?
You see, historical novel is a rather strange thing because the author has to deal with facts, but also he creates fiction. And the question is always, what's the balance between fact and fiction? There are many authors who sacrifice one for the sake of the other. Sometimes it has great results, sometimes not exactly, but the question always remains. And Werfel's novel, The 40 Days of Musa Dagh, to my mind, is one of those novels where the balance between fact and fiction is close to perfect. When I did my translation, I was especially interested in this, and I did my own research, well, as far as I could, to understand how exactly he moved forward, what sources he used, how he tried to weave his fictional narrative into the documentary narrative or vice versa. And I discovered that Werfel actually used a lot of quotes, quotations from sources. These sources are readily available. Anybody can check them on internet archives. And it's really amazing. If you read the text of the novel without such inclinations, without such preparations, you wouldn't even notice. But if you look closer, you see how it is done. Yeah, and it's truly amazing. I sincerely cannot name any other novel of that standing which would use this particular method so aptly. And this is why I dare call the novel nearly perfect historical fiction.
Your biggest challenges in translating the Musa Dagh or any literary work, in this case, what are your biggest challenges as a translator you face?
There are always challenges, of course, and when you translate historical fiction, then you definitely need to know a lot about the context. Without that, mistakes are unavoidable. And this was my challenge. I had to read a lot of academic literature. I had to do my own research in order to understand what is the context in which the text of the novel is embedded. So these documentary sources I mentioned was one thing, but then and there were lots of other things too, which I needed to learn before I could go forward with my translation. And then there are specific translator problems too. For example, in small languages, and Latvian is a small language, it's only spoken by 2 million people, if I'm not mistaken. In small languages, we have a problem with terms. Some specific terms sometimes just don't exist in such a language. And that's the point where the translator has to get creative and try and create his or her own term. There were a couple of instances, if I'm not mistaken, when I had to do that, also translating this text. And then, yes, of course, it's also endless work finding out which terms do exist, which terms don't, where I can be creative, where I should rather follow the tradition, etc., etc. So these were my challenges.
I see. Recently, I was participating in a seminar. The seminar was about scent. It's called scent seminar, basically. It's about fragrances. And the lady who was presenting one of the seminars was talking about the scent of smell when it comes to virtual reality. And in your interview, you talked about fragrance of the epoch. So does a translation able to give that smell, that the time when the event happens, there are certain smells, there are certain fragrances that the writer, I think, incorporates into the book itself. In this case, you mentioned about fragrance of the epoch. What exactly you meant by that?
I think I used the term in figurative sense. I meant not exactly the real fragrance which we can feel. I meant the Zeitgeist, as the Germans would say, perhaps.
Right.
That is the spirit of the epoch. But to my mind, the spirit of the epoch sounds a little bit too rational. And when we have literature, we need to be a little bit more sensual. That's why I used that term. And coming closer, what exactly I meant by that is, look, Werfel wrote his novel more than 70 years ago. And when he wrote it, the events which he describes in the novel were also history. So basically, translator and readership too, they deal with two-layered history. One is the history of Musa Dagh, and the other is the point of history where Werfel was when he was writing his book. And in my opinion, the translator needs to feel, as far as possible, how exactly and the author, the writer felt when he was creating his text. So what was very important for him? Why exactly he used this or that word, this or that term? How the text was written, how it was perceived in that particular period of time. That's one thing. And the other thing is, of course, when we look from our perspective, how we look at that, yeah, and what we, from our particular point of history, are able to feel, how we can feel this zeitgeist or this fragrance of the epoch. Translator is the mediator in this. He or she has to create as close as possible the same feeling of the epoch as the writer wanted to create it, and also that feeling of the epoch about which the author was writing. So that's what I meant when I spoke about the fragrance of the epoch.
Sure, thank you. Now, as far as the book title in Latvian, how difficult was it to come up with a book title for this?
The book title in Latvian is the literal translation of Werfel's book's title in German. But as you probably know, sometimes the titles of books are altered when a translation is published. For example, that happened with my previous translation about the subject with Chris Bojalyan's Sandcastle Girls, which in Latvian are called the Girls of the Desert. Yeah? So, because it simply wouldn't translate into Latvian. In this case, a translation was possible, but the problem was the name of the mountain, Musa Dagh. Very few people in Latvia would understand from the first glance what's meant. And we debated a bit with the editors, should we leave it so that the book title would be a little bit mysterious, or should we alter it so that the potential readership would understand immediately what the book could be about. And we decided to leave it as it is. It's also, I think, some invitation to readers to find out what exactly it means. Why Musa Dagh? What is Musa Dagh? Sure. So I think our choice was good.
Now, since you mentioned the name Musa Dagh, are there any biblical allusions, because being related to Moses and being in desert for 40 years and so on, did you see anything like that in the book itself?
Oh, yes, of course. Werfel did it consciously, of course. The title of the book evokes biblical times. The Mountain of Moses is one possible explanation of the name of the mountain. And then there are numerous references, numerous allusions to the Bible. Werfel was fascinated by the Bible. He was also fascinated by religion as such, be it Christianity or any other religion, and you can see that in the text. He is what he had been called religious humanist. So religion for him is a very important part of human life. It's this vertical which exists between human and divinity.
I would really want to thank you for this great work you've done translating this epoch, this big, I mean, this unbelievable work, this grandiose work that you've done, introducing the Latvian population, Latvian people to the Armenian genocide, and being married to Armenian ambassador in Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. I would like to maybe change the subject a little bit and talk about the embassy's activities in the area. Maybe you can tell us what activities the embassy carries, and maybe briefly tell us, if possible, what population of Armenians live maybe in Estonia or Latvia or Lithuania combined or separately, and do you have schools there? Are there churches there, community centers, and so on?
Yes, well, let's begin then with statistics, as far as I can speak about that. Of course, there are Armenian communities in the Baltic states, and there are, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of thousands of Armenians in each Baltic country, in Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. In Riga, the capital of Latvia, there is also Armenian church, and there is a small Sunday school, you could say, where children of Armenians living in Latvia can learn the language, culture, history, etc. But to my knowledge, there are no such schools yet in Vilnius or Tallinn or in other places of Estonia and Lithuania. The communities are very small, and sometimes it's not easy to establish such schools in every small country, but we hope, of course, that it could change, and it would be really great if there were some other Armenian schools for children. Then about activities of the embassy. From the very beginning, we, and mainly, of course, my husband, we tried to put a definite accent of the culture of diplomacy. It means that the embassy is trying to introduce the best of Armenian culture to the local people, to people in Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. It means that the embassy has initiated and also organized many concerts, exhibitions, talks, etc., etc. And one of the newest project is, of course, something the audience will probably have heard about. This is the new CD of Komitas Liturgy, which has been published by Delos recently, just a month ago. It has already gathered quite favorable reviews in major news outlets, and so we are waiting to see how it develops further. We have also in mind to organize other concerts if possible. You never know what the situation with COVID-19 would be like in a week, let alone in a couple of months. But if the situation allows, and we have also several projects planned for the rest of the year and for next year too.
Thank you very much for being with us. I really appreciate that you took your time. My best regards to Ambassador Mkrtchyan and to your family. And if you have anything, our program is getting to the end. if you would like to add anything to our conversation today, please go ahead.
Well, thank you very much again for inviting me. I'm really happy that my work and Werfel's work, because Werfel is, of course, our main man here, gets so much attention from media. I have little to add, just maybe a wish for the readership of this novel to grow. You see, it is already an old work. Mm-hmm. The novel is more than 70 years old. And sometimes for readers, it's not easy to read such texts. But if one tries really hard to start reading it, just to read the first 10 to 50 pages, and one would be amply rewarded because, and I'm saying that not because I'm the translator, simply as a person who loves literature, I really think that this is one of the greatest works of the 20th century, and it has to be read.
Yes.
It needs its readers more today even than some 50 or 70 years ago, when this book was still new and very popular.
I see. Thank you very much. And wish you the best to you and your family. And my regards to Ambassador. We will have a little video after the end of the program of harissa making that the Musa Lertsis do that almost everywhere in the world, wherever they are. And I would like to let my audience know որ մեր այսօրվա հյուրն էր Paegle-Mkrtchyan Հայաստանի Հանրապետության դեսպանիկին է Լատվիա, Լիտվանիա եւ Էստոնիայում, որը թարգմանել էր Գերմանիայից Musa լեռան 40 օրի վեպը Latvian լեզվին իր մայրենի լեզուն եւ ես շատ երախտապարտ եմ որ այսօր կարողացանք իրեն ներկայացնենք ձեզ հաջողություն եմ ցանկանում բոլորիդ եւ առողջություն ցտեսություն